This is your Chargers linebacker, Deion Henley, and you're tuning in with Chargers Unleashed.
Welcome to another edition of Chargers Unleashed. Jake Hefner and Dale Wolkenstein here with you from the LAFB Network. If this is your first time tuning in the show, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Dan Wolkenstein. It is a special edition Chargers Unleashed After Dark. Everybody in the chat, welcome. Grab a seat, put your feet up, pop open a cold one if you got one, because we have a lot to discuss tonight. Obviously, this is the first show that we are recording live since the fallout of the New England Patriots playoff loss for the Chargers' exit of the 2025 season. But bigger news, Dan. You know, they always say that you can still get some bad taste out of your mouth if you put a couple of swishes of mouthwash in there.
Is that a saying?
I don't know if it's a saying. I hope that people do it just from a hygiene standpoint. Whatever you use to get the bad taste out of your mouth, I think the Chargers fans got some this morning when reports dropped that the Chargers were moving on. Former offensive coordinator Greg Roman and former offensive lineman Mike Devlin no longer with the team, so the offensive coordinator search is officially open for the Los Angeles Chargers. Looking ahead, obviously, now that the offseason, now that the postseason is over. Dan Wolkenstein, we got a lot to discuss as it relates to this past weekend. I know everybody in the chat wants to get in on the action as well, share their opinions on the events of the day and the events of the past few days in general. How are you doing, sir?
Honestly, better tonight than I was last night. I'll tell you that much.
I would agree.
Lots to process over these past few days. Charger season ends abruptly and with a whimper and a single tear left to cry, says Ariana Grande, I guess. I mean,
what a reference.
It was ugly. And all the terms you can use, they're there, whether it's embarrassing, disappointing, frustrating. I can't say shocking, given what we've seen. Although maybe the level of embarrassment, a little shocking, at least for one side of the ball. Who's to blame? Is it that guy on the right and Justin Herbert? Is it the guy on the left or the middle, Mike Devlin, Greg Roman? Is it the receivers, running backs, offensive line, defense at times, J.K. Scott? We'll get to all of it.
You're just going the full bore. You're spreading. You're giving all the options to spread blame around.
Don't you worry. But Sergio in the comments. Yippee! I forgot our playoff loss today.
Sir, I'm sure that Sergio is saying, "Thanks a lot, Wolkenstein. I had just mentally moved past this weekend. Thank you so much for bringing it up."
My bad. But again, the sun shines the next day, and after the fallout and that debacle we saw from that offense, everyone understood the assignment, and they were crosshairs pointed at a few individuals. Some rightly so, some questionable. But I think the boldest one was out of one Greg Roman. We've seen lots. We've discussed lots about Greg Roman this year. Things he's done well, things he has not. We've talked a lot about Mike Devlin. Things that have not gone well with his position group.
I don't think there's another option. There's no other option than that.
That's it. Now, were they both dealt a bad hand somewhat? Sure, yes. But the fact still remains they were not good enough. And the fact still remains they could not adjust. They could not bring the best out of the players that they had. And this offense was predictable, was unable to adapt, was unable to adjust, and quite frankly, was kind of stale and kind of boring. And what made it worse was that it was predictable. Not just to those watching Chargers games, but to those going against them. And Justin Herbert has overcome all of those excuses this season to get to 11 wins with all of the headwinds. Quite frankly, on Sunday night, he couldn't overcome this one. He was not good enough. I don't know what quarterback would have been, but he was not good enough, and neither was his Chargers team. So lots to get into. Chargers Unleashed hotline was going off a little bit today after the news. We'll go through some possible offensive coordinator candidates. Go through the questions and comments and thoughts in the chat. We'll do some real talk here, but Jake, I felt like I would just set the table here with some forks and a lot of knives. Jake, how are you doing today?
I got everything but the steak. You set the table perfectly. I got everything but the steak right now. That's the unfortunate part. It's an unfortunate way for the Chargers season to come to a close, still finishing the season off 11-6. To do it in a way that was much different from last year's 11-6 record, in my opinion. Even if you still keep the same aspect of Greg Roman, the bulk of the same offensive coaching staff, it felt different this year. And it felt different because many, many times Dan and I had talked about the Chargers were winning games against playoff caliber opponents that you had seen in the previous season, in spite of everything that has gone wrong for this team all season long. We've known that the offensive line has essentially been really bad since week 3 against the Denver Broncos.
Historically.
Yes. And it only got worse. We knew that it's been a rough sled for Greg Roman on a week-to-week basis, just when it's come to not only things that we have voiced watching the game and how frustrating it has been to watch, but especially yesterday, Dan, players cleaning out the locker rooms when they're asked direct questions about Greg Roman. Whoa, there were some comments that lift the eyebrows up behind closed doors.
As much
things
being
that are
said and things that were not said.
Yeah. So this was the right decision. And there were plenty of people that felt, just from the standpoint of Jim Harbaugh obviously having a longstanding relationship with guys like Greg Roman and Mike Devlin, that he wouldn't pull this trigger. But man, oh man, when your quarterback is out there getting hit more than anybody in the National Football League, and the beating that he took against New England was the cherry on top. I've said this plenty of times before. Justin Herbert is the toughest quarterback that I personally have ever had the privilege to watch. And that's saying something when you consider what he's been through in just his 6 years of the
and
NFL.
Also who you've seen.
Yes. I mean, Andrew Luck is up there as well with as many hits as he took. But Justin Herbert's resilience, the toughness, what he has battled through, injuries that he has sustained and not missed time because of it. It's amazing when you look back in the bigger picture of things to think that he made it this far. And again, there were reasons that we had arguments to say when it came to like MVP candidacy, especially if we're talking, a month ago or even shortly after Justin Herbert sustained the hand injury, to say that you've still taken them this far despite the fact that you have a historically bad offensive line. And those arguments honestly would have been valid. You're this far, playoffs, second consecutive year, because of Justin Herbert. And because of the amount of moments this year, Dan, and this is in an elongated answer, is kind of where I was going as far as what felt different. If there's one thing I will say about Greg Roman that I felt was a positive for Justin Herbert, I think he did, and probably along with Jim Harbaugh a little bit, it finally clicked in to use the athleticism that Justin Herbert has and make those decisions to bring down the ball and utilize his legs, extend drives, and keep those type of offensive drives going, keeping the opposing defense out in the field, and making those type of moments where it's just like, okay, those are those type of moments that put you up there in those quarterback conversations of the Mahomes or the Josh Allens. And you just felt like, okay, this was him hitting the fuck it button, saying, I'm going to do it myself. And I'm going to will this team to win.
And he did that.
And he did that in order to get them to the playoffs. Unfortunately, the things that we saw Justin Herbert do and carry, and even in games where he wasn't Superman, i.e. the Philadelphia Eagle game, very pedestrian game for Justin Herbert. That was a defensive-led win on that one. But even still, there were moments where Justin Herbert found those few plays to make that made the difference. And unfortunately, in the New England game, you just didn't see those moments from him. First half, obviously, there were missed opportunities. And up through the, middle of the fourth quarter before the Hunter Henry touchdown, this was still a one-score game. This wasn't asking Justin Herbert to come back from a 14 or a 21-point deficit. Your defense came in, did its job, held one of the most prolific offenses in the league to 16 points. And unfortunately, whether you want to say it's Justin Herbert or the offensive line that we knew obviously was a storyline for this podcast on a week-to-week basis, regardless of who the opponent was, is going to say, well, it can't get any worse, right? Who's going to show up? The best offensive line you got a performance out of this year was against the Dallas Cowboys, where Justin Herbert was not put on his back one time. And that was the first time in a year. It's been that bad. But in the playoffs, you have to have better execution. And especially just from the standpoint that Justin's known this. Justin's known that the offensive line has been an issue for several weeks. But it's just those few missed opportunities that you have that end up making a difference in the game. You just got to have those. I honestly believe that looking ahead to next year, we can all talk about what the bookends are going to look like for the offensive line, get it how valuable it is to get Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt back with the investment that I believe that Joe Hortiz is not going to make the same mistake twice. And especially this, you can consider this step one in terms of the events that happened today. But protect 10 at all cost, and the rest will figure itself out.
Yeah, so clearly, lots to dissect. This is a buffet of feelings, if you will. Jake, let's get to some of these Chargers Unleashed hotline voicemails. But first, let's pay the bills real fast. Let's talk about our friends over at Sleeper.
Well, I would love to be talking about, obviously, the Chargers in the NFL postseason. Justin Herbert. But still, we are in the NFL postseason, which still means that you now have a chance to whip to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football with Sleeper. And I got to tell you, Dan, Wildcard Weekend was extremely exciting up until the Chargers game, obviously. Those first 4 playoff games were absolutely nuts. But make sure that you bet on the remaining players that are in the playoffs on stats like these stars for touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you can win big. Just use the promo code Chargers LAFB and you can get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. So Sleeper terms used for details. Currently operating in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
Okay. Since we're back to this feeling, I saved it for us. 2 sounds. You want the good one or the bad one first?
Well, okay. You saved it. 2 sounds. That has to be "Hello, Darkness, My Old Friend." If I'm guessing that's what you're gonna do.
I don't think I have that one. Let me check. I do.
I knew it.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
But that wasn't one of the two. That wasn't one of the two.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I think I have an inkling what the good sound is. So go ahead and give me the bad one first.
So, definitely not gonna lie, we look like dog crap on that game.
Leave it to Dan Wolkenstein to go into the archives of the Chargers Unleashed hotline and pull out that gem. God, what week was that one from? Was that the Jacksonville game?
I think it was Jags.
Oh my God.
Definitely not gonna lie, we look like dog crap.
Maybe, during the offseason, and again, because Dan has access to all of these, I don't personally, but we have to have like some type of, maybe we'll come into like a routine of doing this, especially when it gets to the close of each year, to say, let's just have a reminisce of the great moments of the Chargers Unleashed hotline this past year, because trust me, there were plenty of them this year.
Yep.
So the good news, what's the good one
for you? We are on the clock.
Chargers fans, I try not to put this in a frame of mind to say,
it's okay.
Move on to the draft. Just turn, look at the shiny object over here. Don't look at the, what's happening in front of you. I know a lot of people were saying, like, when I posted something up after the game, that they were like, who gives a shit? We're probably going to draft somebody wrong anyways. It's like, I have come to find out over several years of reporting on and being a fan of this franchise that there is no better mental therapy when you have moments like we did on Saturday night to open up your digital book and stick your nose into the NFL draft. It is quite therapeutic. No, Dan, I wasn't going to say the other thing.
Wasn't sure where you were going. Carlos Chargers says, we are so back. We'll be talking NFL draft here in the coming weeks and months. Jake, we are so back on that.
We're back.
And for as shitty as a season-ending game that was, I think all Chargers fans, I should say most Chargers fans would agree that there were positives to come from it come Tuesday, 2026 on January 13th. Let's get into the hotlines. I kind of snapped the line at today because I don't think we got I don't think we got enough time for all the ones from right after the game. So let's see.
Curious minds want to know.
Dan, Jake, you guys are awesome, and I appreciate all of the work that you put in all year long covering this team.
There's a butt coming. I feel it. I feel it. But thank you.
First, yes, appreciate all of this. Thank you very much.
My ego's getting huge.
It's been great watching you guys and
not watching. No way it's been great watching. Maybe listening, but not watching.
And your viewpoint and outlook, it's been fun.
Okay. He's being too nice.
It's the hammer's about to drop. Don't worry.
What hasn't been fun is watching somebody like Justin fucking Herbert, who's so damn good, being wasted. And
I got to get some tissues out for
this
one.
Thought Jim Harbaugh was the hire. Wasn't Ben Johnson a candidate? Wasn't Mike Vrabel a candidate for that hiring cycle? What I don't understand is if Jim Harbaugh's the guy and he fails to see that Greg Roman's not the guy, then is Jim Harbaugh still our guy?
A little foreshadowing. This is where Chargers fans' heads was at Monday morning? Monday night? Tuesday morning?
Thankfully, one answer to this question has been answered. Has been found. I think that there would have been... Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the voicemail was over. Apologies.
Changes this offseason in the offense because I've watched every single Justin Herbert postgame interview, and I've never seen him look like he did tonight.
That was ugly.
That was bad.
In this postgame interview after his third playoff loss against a team that was frankly beatable.
That honestly, Jake, and I said this, that offense that they went up against wasn't even that good. It was vanilla checkdowns and quarterback scrambles and 16 points. And you lost to that.
Justin Herbert's elite. I don't care what anybody has to say. He's an elite talent. And Jim Harbaugh is wasting his talent with a guy like Greg fucking Dinosaur Roman.
Not wasting the time anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that there would have been fair criticisms if Jim Harbaugh, Joe Hortiz ran it back with Greg
fair.
Roman and Mike Devlin for a
yeah.
third consecutive year. No question about it.
Pitchforks. Jeez.
There's that old phrase, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Or is it the other way around? I forget. But whichever one it is, these are offensive line problems that you cannot simply glance over in a way that a lot of people maybe felt that Hortiz in his rhetorical comments at the end of the season last year did, and ran it back with two of the three same interior offensive linemen. Now, as it relates to, wasting Justin Herbert, here's what I will say in terms of the big picture with Jim Harbaugh. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that Jim Harbaugh is wasting Justin Herbert, because Jim Harbaugh has instilled a culture into this team that they have not had for 20 years. Jim Harbaugh bringing Jesse Minter over was an absolute godsend for the Chargers. How quickly do we forget what the Chargers defense was like under Brandon Staley? It was otherworldly type of bad during that era.
Or what special teams was like in other eras, or what defense was like in other eras, or like you go on and on and on.
But there is a intangible that Jim Harbaugh has, even as quirky as it might be presented, that runs deep within that locker room that goes beyond Justin Herbert. And in the big picture of things, it's going to benefit. And if you have a reason to be optimistic now moving forward, it's because of the news that you heard earlier today.
Bingo.
I have to commend Jim Harbaugh for doing so, because again, plenty of people thought that he was not going to pull that trigger
for
given
good reason.
The strong history between he and Greg Roman.
Literally the only offensive coordinator Jim Harbaugh has ever had in the NFL alongside of him was Greg Roman.
So you got to give him credit for the move that he made this morning. Pride set aside, relationship, personal friendship set aside, for the betterment of the team, for the betterment of Justin Herbert. Well done.
A couple questions here. Serious question for Chargers fans. Jake, I'll let you take this one. Would you rather had Herbert do enough to win Sunday and guaranteed Greg Roman returns, or Herbert play the way he did, guaranteed Roman's fired?
May not like the answer, but I'd probably take the second one. Even if you were to say, as much as I want it to get Justin Herbert his first playoff win, I don't know if I could stomach. Like, if you were to change that question and say, what would I rather have Justin Herbert get to the Super Bowl? I won't even go as far as to say win it, or have Greg Roman come back. Maybe I would side with the Super Bowl. But I don't know if I could stomach watching Greg Roman's offensive play calling any longer. And the reason that it became tolerable was how amazing Justin Herbert was. Even in games where he was 50%. It was those type of moments. I don't know if I've had a more commending moment of Justin Herbert than I did in a loss when he played Houston a few weeks ago. To have your defense put you in a 14-point hole, for Justin Herbert to will you back. And in that run that he pulls the ball down, goes downfield for 30 yards, in just a total Superman-like drive, clips the defender with the broken hand, mind you, that he broke, and keeps going for another 10 yards and finishes that drive off with a touchdown. He did so many things that just made you believe that the impossible was possible this year. Unfortunately, it didn't show up in the playoffs, but to see what he did in spite of the poor offensive line, 25 plus combinations, and the bad, vanilla, repetitive, and predictable play calling, as Dan Wolkenstein called it, you have to give him credit for it. You have to.
And like person to person, right? I respect Greg Roman as a person, right? Family man. I'm sure he's great. And every time I've interacted with him, he has been super kind and forthcoming with his time and information and honest. Two things can be true. He was kind of dealt a bad hand when his cornerstone tackles were hurt, when his first and second running backs were hurt this year, when his quarterback has a broken hand. Then the year prior, both of his running backs that they got were injury prone and or not there. Their interior offensive line sucked, and they had no weapons outside of Ladd. Like, those things are true. If that was not true, and he had all those things, probably would have looked a lot different, and a Greg Roman offense might work. Might. The unfortunate part is shit happens, right? Shit happens. And when shit happened, there's nothing else that Greg Roman was able to provide other than the Greg Roman offense. There was no pocket aces up his sleeve, right? Like there was no other card to be dealt. And you hear some of the things that players are saying post game about like they need to get better at the stuff that like you and I, Jake, who don't know shit compared to these guys who are coaching the NFL, have been saying all year about quick game, getting things out in the flats, about creativity, about adjusting, about the screens and getting things to the running back, like all the stuff that we've talked about. You're hearing players and people out there talking about it, and you're like, okay.
Hello, Trey Harris.
So, yes, it kind of sucks. I kind of feel for him a little bit. But also, what can also be true is clearly he was not the right guy for Justin Herbert and this offense. Because if he was, they would have adjusted. They would have adapted. They would not have thrown a play action on 4th and 9 with 2 minutes left. So, yeah, it was time. And Mike Devlin, I don't know much about. But when your offensive line is that bad, when you got guys, you have literally at least 5 guys throughout the year who were ranked worse than the number of starting tackles and guards there are in the NFL and centers. That's bad. When you have on your roster like 3 of the worst 150 of 153 dudes playing offensive line, that's bad. And when you got guys who can't adjust and can't pick up blitzes and simple 3-4 man rushes with stunts that felt like Groundhog Day that beat this Chargers team like a drum for 2 years, it was time. Simply, it was time. You could say the guys weren't that good. He didn't make them better. I mean, maybe he made them better, but I don't see how that's possible. Forgotten Locale Jake says, I would have gotten rid of Nick Hardwick too. Got to take emotion and sentiment from these decisions.
You know what? I will give Nick Hardwick a pass on this one, considering the fact that, remember, if we're looking at the difference of a coaching tenure from a Mike Devlin to a Nick Hardwick. Nick Hardwick's just in the infancy of his coaching tenure.
Yeah, dude, he's so good.
And you know what? It's first of all, it's a great thing to have one of your former players come back and coach a position that he played. And I think that that's out of sheer respect and admiration to want to keep him on. Again, he's not going to be your offensive line coach for next season, but to keep him on from a standpoint to keep moving to grow him into a bigger role. I actually like the idea of keeping Nick Hardwick.
Yeah. And what do you think is more likely? That Nick Hardwick was the reason their offensive line was bad, or that those players playing offensive line were the reason Nick Hardwick looked bad? You tell me, given what you've seen from Nick Hardwick in his career. Abdullah says, I want a coach who elevates a certain side of the ball. The leader of men thing is not for me. Look at all the best coaches. The leader of men thing is dying with the Harbaugh brothers and Tomlin. Agree to disagree. I think it's okay to have a leader of men at the top. But if you don't have someone who can do the detailed stuff, you're not going to win. Because you have to have that. Like you look at Josh McDaniel. You saw what he did as a head coach. A little different. But as an OC, brilliant. Then you flip it. You look at what Mike McDaniel did as an OC. And still, even to this day, as a play caller, great. But sometimes when you're not the leader of men type, when you're not like that ruler type, it can grow old. And so you need to have that in your coaching staff. But you can't just have that. You have to have details, which they have on defense right now. And I'd argue they probably have it when they finally do lose Jesse Minter. Looking at you, Steve Klingscale.
There you go.
So, no, I don't think it's a dying breed. I think just some of the guys who've been doing it for some of the guys who are those are just a little long in the tooth. I mean, Mike Vrabel is that kind of guy. The dude's effing awesome. So, I don't know.
Think what you want about Sean Payton. He's built that coaching staff and that team, regardless of what you want to think about him. It's their second consecutive season of going into the playoffs. That defense over there is pretty damn good. They've gotten a resurgence of what they need. And to think about it, if you go back all the way to Marty, which if you were to compare apples to apples, Jim Harbaugh is the closest thing to Marty that this team has had. You go from Marty Schottenheimer to Norv Turner, who wasn't a leader of men, who inherited a great team from Marty Schottenheimer and was able to win on style points and get them to the playoffs in numerous years. Then you transition to Mike McCoy, who was looked at initially, I think, as a leader of men. I think it was more of just that first year change of environment from Norv Turner. And Mike McCoy was able to get you back to the playoffs. Then you transition to Anthony Lynn, which I think in that, especially that first year, that attitude that he came in with started to kind of get you back to that feeling. And unfortunately that fizzled out, didn't work out. And then Brandon Staley was like, okay, the boy wonder, the genius, the new age of the head coaches. I think that it says something when you expected to get a handful of coaches to follow you from the Rams over to the Chargers, and that didn't happen. So Jim Harbaugh has changed the culture of this team for the better in the big picture of things.
I agree. Friend of the show, the director is in the house.
Good to see you, sir.
It has been a minute, sir, and man, this has been a tough 2 days, but $20 donation. Appreciate you, my buddy. Our Super Bowl window is open. Got to nail the OC hire. That window doesn't stay open long. Bolt up. Stay frosty. I agree. And some of the people in the comments are saying, like, when you have Justin, you're fine. You gotta tighten this thing up. A lot of people are talking about possible offensive coordinator candidates. Do we want to do a quick run of that?
We could do it. How many voicemail? Yeah, how many voicemails do we have left? Because we got to get through some of those as well.
All right, let me do a couple of voicemails, and then we'll skip ahead to some offensive coordinator options that Jake has compiled. Give me one moment while we get these set up. Next voicemail. I'm going to play this just because. That's how we all felt.
Was that a sound? Was that just a soundboard, or is that a voicemail?
Yeah, it's a soundboard.
Okay, I swear to God, I actually thought you were playing a voicemail. I was like, this is the clean rage voicemail right now.
Dan, Jay, sorry my
go.
boys. I cannot be there tonight live on the show. I am working. I apologize for that. But I just wanted to say this. Good start from my coach. I'm very proud of him. Got rid with his OC. Made some changes already. Okay, he is hungry. He's ready. I just want to say this. Joe Hortiz, stop playing games with your fan base. Get your shit together, my man. Super Bowl is at SoFi Stadium next year. Get your shit together, Hortiz. Let's go. Stop playing games with us. Thank you.
Athir's back. Athir's still here.
It takes the Chargers to lose in the wild card round of the playoffs for Athir to not call out everybody, call his own shots, be overly bullish or pissed off at Dan Wolkenstein to actually keep it short, sweet, to the point, and make a fair argument.
Next voicemail.
Jake, Dan, just want to thank you guys for all year for the podcast. They're amazing. And for this line.
Thank you. Y'all are nuts. Thank you.
We do it for you guys. Literally, there are 600 people right now on this live stream. You're why we do it.
I'm going to be able to get to sleep tonight. With the team, boy, how fitting to have Bozeman stomping his foot looking back at Herbert as he's getting decapitated on their last effing play.
The fact that Justin just kept getting back up off the mat and his offensive lineman had to sit there, watch him get blown up, and then go help him up. Like, the audacity. I mean,
pretty much that ended everything, which it was over at halftime because nobody made any adjustments. Freaking Roman sucked. And really don't feel bad for anybody except for the defense, Herbert and Vidal. Otherwise, everybody else, just complete no-show. Just even with man-to-man coverage, they couldn't get separated with all those blitzes, which was pretty much every other down. Just no adjustments at all. Nothing to answer for it.
No counterpunch. None. There was not a moment in that Chargers game after that fourth down miss where I felt optimistic or hopeful that they were going to adjust, that they were going to get it together. Not a single moment did I have hope. Do they show me hope? Not one.
So even after the second turnover in the first half, you weren't feeling that way.
The offense didn't turn it over.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm talking about New England having 2 turnovers in the first half.
But I'm saying the offense didn't do anything to give me hope. I'm not saying there was a hope in the game. I'm saying there was nothing that offense showed me.
Yeah.
Nothing. And and that's insane. That's insane to say.
Just I can't even, it's not like we're expecting to, win the Super Bowl this year, but to at least freaking show up.
That's the hard part.
Yeah.
I was talking to a buddy of mine, Jake, and I was saying, I'd be okay if they lost, as weird as it sounds. I just want them to go out swinging and go out the way that they play. And you didn't even get close to that on one side of the ball. You were as bad as I have seen since covering this team.
And I think that's, again, where a lot of the criticism came to. Again, the criticism for Greg Roman has been there all season. it's nothing new. As Dan said, it's like, were you surprised at anything that you saw? It's like, no, because we've seen that plenty of spurts throughout this season. Did you expect the offensive line to play better? Well, let's just kind of go through the facts. There was a reason that we were all looking at the 7th seed, because you didn't want to play Jacksonville because against what they did to your offensive line 7 weeks ago. You didn't want to play Houston based on what they did to your offensive line just a few weeks back. And given what you saw and the Chargers being battle tested, you felt like that could have been a matchup that would be similar to the pass rush, not equal to, but similar to what you got from Dallas. So maybe you thought that your offensive line could be better, not perfect. Obviously, nobody was going to put any stock in that. But you felt like, especially after a week of rest, certain guys, just especially that were hampering injuries at that point in the year, Justin Herbert included, that you were going to have a better performance than that. And I'm with what Dan was saying. It's like, live by the way that you got there. I didn't even need Justin Herbert to be perfect in this game. And it sucks from the point that the caller was talking about in terms of wide receivers not being able to break away from man coverage. I don't want to hear this for a third consecutive year when we get to the playoffs next season. This is the second year we've had to hear this. And there were very limited opportunities for Justin Herbert when he had certain windows that were open, certain times when the offensive line was able to hold up, especially in the first half, where he didn't hit those windows. So in no aspect of the game did you see a path to success.
No. Sergio, we just did 2 hours in another podcast. That is how happy we are with these changes. So keep it rolling. We'll be here all day.
Puke and rally, baby. Let's go.
Oh, man. James Wagner. We'll do one more voicemail when we get to the offensive coordinator. So do one more voicemail before we talk about possibly Phillip Rivers for OC.
Yep, terrible. Justin Herbert did himself no favors. He deserves all the criticism he's going to get. I mean, I know the fan base is probably going to be too tired trying to defend him, but he deserves it. It was a bad game. Greg Roman needs to go. If
Got the second part.
Jim Harbaugh really wants to take Justin Herbert into the Hall of Fame, that's the first thing he needs to do. He needs to get rid of Greg Roman.
Check.
His franchise is serious if they don't fire him.
That's where people were. Like, that felt like it was a line in the sand. Was Greg Roman. It's like, if you do not part ways with Greg Roman, I am not continuing on this path with you. Like, that's how it felt.
Oh, there were some people on social media that were making their stamp to say, I am not supporting this team until I see that announcement come out. Thankfully for them, they didn't have to wallow in that pity for that long.
If they want to keep him through 2026, then they might as well just give up on the season because they are not going to be shit with him calling plays.
He sounds so sad. Thanks for calling. He sounds so sad.
Hey, Jake and Dan.
Oh, a little optimistic. I like this one.
A little bit.
And
Let's
I
see
like
where it
this.
goes.
All right, then we'll go to OCs.
Luke. That's my real name. I'm the faceless fan. My name's Luke.
Oh, wait, it took a turn. Yeah,
Incredibly.
Oh, he was so happy.
The voice inflection completely changed.
Luke has told us his name. Faceless fan. It's Luke. This is him.
Demoralized. This team has broken my heart so many times. As the Redditors would call me, I'm a doomer. It's awful. It's terrible being a Chargers fan. And I love this team with all my heart.
It's tough.
And they let us down terribly. And we scored 3 points. And I bet my brother $100.
Oh no.
What did you bet?
But $100 that
10 years from now that we don't fire Greg Roman.
Wait.
I mean,
the bet was
he's $100 poorer, but he's happy. He bet $100 that Greg Roman would not get fired.
It's kind of reminds me of the what is it, the tea leaves that Ron Weasley's looking at in Harry Potter. Where he's like, "You're gonna suffer, but you're gonna be happy about it." So, yeah,
I'm wrong, and I owe him $100.
Bam. There you go.
Because I've been saying it since we hired him. We'll never ever win a Super Bowl or a playoff game, mind you, be with Greg Roman. I don't believe in Jim Harbaugh. I know that.
Oh,
I know that's a bad thing to say.
that's a bad thing to say.
I'm irrational. I understand that.
Yep.
But that's that. I'm not going to say anything else. I just want to hear you guys' thoughts. What do we do? Please tell me I'm not crazy and that I'm not the only one that despises Greg Roman as a person and as an offensive coordinator.
We're getting personal here. Well, as offensive coordinator, you are not alone, and lots of people, including the staff.
Maybe try to win that $100 back by now making a bet on who's going to be the offensive coordinator that replaces Greg Roman. Mm-hmm. You could try it that way, and you could have something to actually look forward to. Because I know right now that voicemail was probably right after the Chargers game, and I feel you. I was in my emotions after that game. How could you not be as a Chargers fan of watching that and watching what you witnessed all season when it comes to everything that was not Justin Herbert prior to that playoff game? But as Dan said, hey, you might be $100 out of pocket, but you feel a hell of a lot better on Tuesday than you did on Saturday.
Sunday. Yes.
Sunday, excuse me. Yes, whatever.
Another comment. That's just in. The Pats blitzed again. Oh, that was just... It 100% felt like what we had seen so many times, where everyone in the stadium, everyone who was watching that game knew that Justin Herbert was about to get killed. Like, it was inevitable. It was freaking Thanos, but not in a good way. Like, all the Infinity Stones were on the other hand of the other guy. All right, Jake. So let's talk offensive coordinator here for a second. So McDaniel's gone out of Miami. Greg Roman gone from Los Angeles. Before we get to specific names, which we got like 10 here, I think you gave, which good on you. What are you wanting out of an offensive coordinator? And I don't want to hear like the buzzwords. Like give me like the tangible, tactical things that this offensive coordinator must be able to do.
Yeah. So again, when you see these are not necessarily in any discernible order. But what I tried to relate them to, obviously, are coaches that can innovate, coaches that can adapt. But if we're still talking about Jim Harbaugh as a head coach, you know that running game is going to be extremely valuable for him next year. So taking away Greg Roman, who was a huge advocate of the running game, even though he could not get that to execute properly this year, you still have to believe that that's going to be a staple that Jim Harbaugh is going to want to keep around for Justin Herbert. I think we're still waiting for the answer to the question. Imagine Justin Herbert with a run game. Your new offensive coordinator has to bring that in some form or fashion. So variety of different things, whether we're talking about coaching familiarity.
Here's innovative. One. Jeremy says an OC that doesn't call a play action in 4th and 9 with 2 minutes left in the game.
I think we could find a plethora of ones that don't do something like that. We could be here all day if we're talking about those names, honestly. But familiarity, innovative, being able to adapt, invest in the run game, but add a little bit of, I don't want to say necessarily new age, but
creativity.
Yeah, there you go. There's the word I was looking for. Creativity to Justin Herbert and this offense.
Get defenses on their toes. Excuse me. Get defenses on their heels. Like, you got to dictate. And there's somebody in the comments earlier that I was talking about, like, Greg Roman was only good if he had pocket aces in his hand. But he sometimes in poker, like, you got to win with other hands. You got to bluff. Like, you got to win with Jack 7 offsuit. Like, those things happen. Like, those are the hands you are dealt, and you got to win with them. That's what I want to see. Like, Kyle Shanahan,
yes,
isn't an OC. But you see what that Niners team has gone through in the turmoil and the turnover on the staff and how many injuries that team has gone through this year. And they're in the divisional round. They were playing for the 1 seed in week 18. You watch that offense and it cooks almost all the time. Brock Purdy was gone. They effing won with Mac Jones for a month. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so you got to have someone who can be kind of a chameleon in this day and age. And I agree with you, Jake. Like, yes, you know it's going to be imperative that they have a run strategy in a Jim Harbaugh offense. You know, tip of the spear, all that jazz. But you also want to, similar to, and it's unfortunate we're talking about this, but like how Jesse Minter is on defense, you adjust your scheme to the roster that you have. That's the sign of a good coach. You don't make them adjust to you. You adjust to them being your team, your roster. And then you trust them to do what they do best. So I think I may have cut you off.
No.
You want someone who's adaptable, who's creative.
I was pretty much done. That wraps it up.
So a lot of names out there. Jake, who's on your short list?
I know, again, like I said, these aren't ranked, but if I did have my preference as far as the top choice goes, it would be Mike McDaniel. I think when you look at what he was still able to do, and this is excluding the quarterback play, but when you think of some of the innovations that he brought forth in this, and this could actually be a twofold, Dan. We'll get to it a little bit later, but there's another positional coach that's on the Dolphins staff that necessarily hasn't been released yet. But we'll see what happens when the Dolphins obviously conclude their new head coaching staff search to see what happens there. But there's a lot of things, and especially just when you look at kind of like what's blossoming as far as the new offensive minds of the coordinators. Everything is really just getting that success again from the Shanahan coaching tree, which is where Mike McDaniel came from. He's bred from that. And I think that what he was able to do in an offense with Tua, even if you take away some of the limitations that he brought as a quarterback, and in some respects really diminished some of the outcomes that you could have gotten. I love what he's done with the run game in Miami, for sure. I love what his plan has been for that.
And I think running backs they bring in too.
Yes, I think he has a lot of creativity when it comes to the passing game. I could imagine what Mike McDaniel could do with a Ladd McConkey going into year 3. I could imagine what you could possibly draw up for a Quentin Johnston, keeping Sanjay Lal as part of this roster and creating an offensive game plan around that to build more explosive plays for Justin Herbert downfield. I would love to see this. So if I did have a preference, again, not stacked rank in any particular order, but Mike McDaniel would be my first choice.
A couple other names here we'll go over. Todd Monken, I know, is another one that a lot of people like. Everyone remembers the name Brian Daboll, who once upon a time was in the running for the Chargers head coaching job before Brandon Staley got it.
Doesn't he just look like a badass right there? He looks like he just walked off of the Top Gun set.
I was just thinking Top Gun. That's what I was just thinking. That's hilarious. What are some of the names here? You got.
This is where it's kind of going like, okay, the new age, like the hot, younger offensive coordinators. Now, again, do I think that this is the direction that Jim Harbaugh is going to go, just knowing him? I won't necessarily fully eliminate it, but I'll say it's probably the less likely. So Nate Schalise, who's obviously done a great job for the Los Angeles Rams under Sean McVay's staff. You look at what the Rams offense has done. Matthew Stafford having an MVP-like season, what they have been able to do with the likes of Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, and they still commit to the run for sure. They are a very well-balanced offense in Los Angeles. So again, I put this one probably less likely, just given Jim Harbaugh's history. I think he'd probably want a little bit more of a veteran offensive coordinator, someone who's possibly been a head coach before that's getting kind of a second crack of an opportunity as Dan clicks it over to Cliff Kingsbury in that regards. But again, options. Can you innovate? Are you willing to look at additional options rather than familiarity? Are you willing to kind of push forward, take a chance at this point in time? Time will tell.
James Wagner. Phillip Rivers has an offense architect mind. He beat Harbaugh in a comeback overtime in spite of Mike McCoy. I will say, like, I put it on Twitter when I heard some of the rumors, like, whatever, 3 days ago or whatever, the Colts lost. That would be like the ultimate vibes. If you hear the announcement of Phillip, whether or not it's a good or bad decision, the vibes will be immaculate. And even Phillip Rivers at 45, who self-admittedly was like out of shape, wasn't really there like he was 20 years ago, 5 years ago. That dude is commanding an offense that he saw 3 days prior. Like
good.
No, just I could see it. I could see it being an offensive coordinator. 100%.
When this season is fully in the books, the story of Phillip Rivers is one of the best stories of the season. And we're talking about a guy who came back off the couch at 44 years old in the second half of the year to play 3 games, and he lost them all. And it was an amazing story and stuff that had so much great things tied to it because of how he played when he came back.
Including health insurance.
Touche. But the fact that after that final game of the season, that people were looking at Phillip Rivers possibly as a coaching candidate in the NFL, when this was a guy that was on the cusp of going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame and said, you know what? I got a little bit of gas left in the tank, kind of like the Rocky Balboa movie. There's a beast in the basement and I need to get him out. Just give me just a little bit more time. I'm not quite ready for that yet. It was such a good story for the season.
That said, I'm not sure if he's ready to be OC yet.
Correct.
I'm just saying. Next, David Webb.
Yeah, if you'd like to, again, kind of go on the next generation youth movement, David Webb from the Denver Broncos is a very hot candidate for an offensive coordinator position. And hey, it wouldn't help or it wouldn't hurt pilfering from your own divisional rivals in that circumstance. That's for sure. As Dan transitions to this is kind of where everybody's main focus has been when it's come to the offensive line coaches possibilities that are out there.
Roman.
Again, we don't know the status of Frank Smith right now. He's obviously the run game coordinator, and their offensive coordinator as it stands right now. We'll see what time comes of that when the Dolphins are done with their coaching search. But imagine if you were able to land Mike McDaniel and there was a coaching overhaul in Miami and Frank Smith became available again and you bring him along to coach your offensive line. Woof.
I would love. I mean, to be honest though, like there's a lot of OCs that I'd probably be okay with. Like I haven't gone through, I'm still digesting what we've seen these last 8 hours or so. But the idea of like a Mike McDaniels, like a Brian Dable with the chip on his shoulder, like I saw in the comments. Like imagining an aggressive, forward-thinking, innovative, and adaptable offense. Imagine the euphoria in that. Like it feels so insane to me that we have to go through this like scratching and clawing one aspect after the other. Imagine this Chargers team with the special teams. Next scratch. Imagine this Chargers team with a good defense. Neck scratch. Imagine this Chargers team with a good head coach. Imagine this Chargers team with weapons. Imagine this Chargers team with an offensive line. Imagine this Chargers team.
It's a word I'm getting sick and tired of using basically since the inception of this podcast.
Imagine this team with an offensive coordinator.
Ifs, shoulda, woulda, couldas. I'm tired of using those words on this show.
It's like, can we just get all of them at once? I know that's probably unrealistic, but like, I'm tired of just one thing after the other just crippling this Chargers team. Carlos says, waiting for that Chargers notification saying we've completed an interview with Mike McDaniel for offensive coordinator. Yeah, that'd be great. Abdullah says, I don't want to imagine. Make it happen.
Precisely.
Yeah. Now, I have no idea what this person's name is. I'd hire the OC
with blitz beaters,
please, because not even blitz beaters. Hell, stunt beaters, 4-man front beaters. Please, fitness, Jake. Imagine Jake with a dress. Real talk. I went to a bachelor party.
This is where you're gonna stay. Okay, great.
Here comes. Real talk. Went to a bachelor party in New Orleans, maybe 10 years ago. And one of the things that we did as guys for the groom to be was surprise him with a red dress run. Go Google what a red dress run is in New Orleans. It's essentially a bunch of folks drunk out of their minds running through Bourbon Street, everyone in some form or fashion dresses that are red. Absolutely unreal. It's like a pub crawl for, I forget what charity it was or for the cause, but epic. So one day, Jake, go do a red dress run in New Orleans. Where's the key? Where the keys at? Best fit would be Monken, as he's much better play caller than Roman.
Yeah,
I mean, that last part, how many people? No, I'm not gonna go there.
The familiarity aspect there. I'm sure that Jim Harbaugh has gotten a lot of words from his brother John. And remember, one of the biggest things that we heard from the reports of why John Harbaugh was let go was because he was still going to bat for Todd Monken to remain the offensive coordinator for that team. There's a lot more issues in that locker room than just who the head coach was, than who the offensive coordinator was. And unfortunately, one of the Chargers coaching staff could be coaching that very team sooner rather than later. But yes, Todd Monken, definitely one to keep an eye on.
Embro All-Stars. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Jake, we're back. We are back.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Imagine a year where we don't have to play that fucking song.
That would be wonderful.
That would be great.
That would be great. Let's get to some of these voicemails again. Next voicemail, folks. We're up to 730 people in the live stream, and it's 9:50.
You guys are
crazy.
Yes, on a Tuesday.
Love you guys. Let's go.
What's going on, fellas? It's Ray from San Diego. Good morning. And surprise, the Chargers shit the fucking bed.
Okay. Yeah. I was hoping again, Dan.
Positive.
Higher voice inflection, and then boom. Just, ground level in
overall
less than a second.
This game was fucking terrible. You guys watched. I don't need to tell you guys about it. Collectively, it was garbage. O-line, garbage. Herbie, what happened, bro? 3 yards per pass? Missing checkdowns left and right? Granted, again, the O-line, right? But I think one of the biggest issues here is fucking Greg Roman.
Yeah. Water is blue. The sun is hot. It all goes back to Greg Roman.
Fucking Greg Roman.
Dude, where are the plays? Stale as a box of crackers and like I left something in my pantry for 2 months.
Stale as a what in his pantry for 2 months?
I missed it. But I'm sure it was something good.
Stale, bro. Unacceptable. Unfucking believable. Sorry for the F-bombs. That's all there is. That's all it is. We got to regroup. Harvey's going to get shit all off season, and rightfully so. But it's not just on Roman. It is mostly Roman, but not just on him. This was a collective fuck up by everyone. It's the life I chose. Charger fan.
The life we chose as
Yes.
Chargers fans. 100%. Thanks for the call. Jake, let's get to this real quick. I tweeted about this. You tweeted about this. A lot of people are tweeting about this. A lot of people are talking about it on the airwaves. People are taking their victory laps over Justin Herbert and the choke job that he has done over these last 3 years, quote unquote, and how terrible he's been. And this was his fault. Not all of them, but there's a lot of people out there. And I think, Jake, you said it pretty succinctly early on, where like there are things that can be true at the same time. But in short, Justin Herbert is the reason that this Chargers team is even sniffing the playoffs.
100%.
And he has had to be Superman in spite of all of the shit that we saw throughout this season. I don't have to go into all that again. We all know the shit that he had to deal with. From players not there, to players who were there being trashed, to the coordinator being trashed, to the offensive, like, we're there. Justin Herbert had to put the cape on, along with that elite defense, any week in order for this Chargers team to have a sniff at a win. And for 11 games, this Chargers team with Justin Herbert and that elite defense found a way. All that is true. It is also true that Justin Herbert was not good enough in that playoff game to overcome the shit that they had to deal with. Is Justin Herbert the reason this Chargers team lost the playoff game? I don't think so. Was he part of the reason? I mean, I guess it's a collective effort, right? It's a team game. Was Justin Herbert as Herculean as we've seen all season in that playoff game? No, he wasn't. He could have been better. He missed some throws. He missed some reads. And if I'm being honest, if you gave him truth serum, Jake, I think some of that was him trusting his defense and him not wanting to do anything stupid. Call it timid, call it being conservative, whatever you want to call it. But some of that was, you have gone this entire effing season and you have heard footsteps for months. You have been hit more than every other quarterback in the league. You have been sacked more than any other quarterback in the league per game. You have been pressured relentlessly. You have been dragged through the mud all season. You have been picked up off the floor all season. Nobody walked through that door to save you. Nobody. Come playoff game, after a week off where you got to actually not get hit, probably felt good. Do you want to call it seeing ghosts? Do you want to call it, I have no confidence in my offensive coordinator or my offensive line? Do you want to fault him for not trusting the guys in front of him or not trusting his OC? Would you? Does that make him a lesser quarterback because of that? I don't know. Does that make him Superman? No, it makes him human. Was he able to be Superman and overcome all of the shit in that game outside of his control? No. Was he as good as we have seen? No. But is he part of the solution or is he part of the problem? Ask yourself that honestly. For this franchise, if you had to stack all the things that were the problems for this team on this side, and all the things that are the bright spots of solutions on the other side. Which side is he on? Black and white. If you want to say they should just trade for 3 first-round draft picks or, lower expectations adjusted, and he's not that, like, you do you. I'm staying right here. Because that quarterback did something that I have never seen another quarterback do this season, given what he had to go through. I have never seen a quarterback endure what he went through and continuously get back up, get back out there, continue to play, and continue to will his team. Did he do it against New England, against a damn good coach? No, he didn't. Did he have many opportunities to do so in that game? I don't know. Jake, I'm going a little long on this, but there's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of people talking about Justin Herbert and the blame game and who's at fault and how good he really is. There's a lot of noise, man. It's a lot of noise. And I've criticized Justin many times and I've gotten flamed for it. I've watched him throw games away. But this is kind of a be damned position to be in for him. Given the areas that are weak, given the shit that he's dealt with, you say he's timid, he should just chuck it. Let's say he chucks it to the guys who aren't open, throw interceptions. He lost in the game. I say he's timid, he runs it. He's missing reads. He's not trusting his teammates. You pick. I don't know, man. Sounds like a shitty hand. Not to try to be cheeky with the hand that he broke, but I'll ride with Justin until the wheels fall off. Because that is the best quarterback I have ever seen wear a Chargers uniform. And I'll take the long game. He's 0-3 in the playoffs. It's a fact. I don't got to defend it. It's a fact. He ain't done.
All right. Let me tweak some things that you said. When you were talking about Justin Herbert needed to be Superman seemingly every single week, I'm going to respectfully disagree with that. He didn't even need to be Superman in the Philadelphia game. That was a defensive-led struggle. Obviously, that was going to be a timid game plan considering the fact that he had just come off the broken hand. But he still made the 1 or the 2 plays. Dan, he rushed for 10 times in that game with a broken hand for 66 yards. Mm-hmm. Even from the passing standpoint, it's just, and usually that's the game of football. You make 1 or 2 plays here to change the trajectory of a game. Justin Herbert did that plenty of times this season, even not having to put the cape on. A 50% Justin Herbert, a 75% Justin Herbert. As we had talked about earlier in the show, he put up a damn better performance against a Houston Texans team with a better defense than New England, even in a loss. And you also add on the caveat that he had to dig that team out of a 14-point hole that happened right away. So I think that if you're talking about like the nuance, the bigger picture now, I think you kind of have a little bit more of a line in the sand of where people's perceptions are as far as Justin Herbert in the postseason. I don't think anybody can take anything away from what Justin Herbert did in the regular season this year. But Dan, it's kind of how you said it earlier in the show. It's how you have found a way to win this year in spite of all of that bullshit that you knew that you had. The offensive line play did not just come out of nowhere. We've known that throughout the duration of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of times Justin Herbert has been able to overcome the bad play calling.
Yep.
But against New England, I saw a different Justin Herbert. I saw a Justin Herbert that missed there were few opportunities. I understand everybody wants to talk about that there was nobody open. There were times that people were open. And there are similar throws that we have seen Justin Herbert make in the past and even earlier this year that normally he's going to hit those guys. And he didn't do it. I think he looked timid in the pocket in that New England game. At times, maybe just even a little bit skittish. Did he have a bad game, and does he shoulder some of the blame for this one? Absolutely, he does. And it sucks from the standpoint to say, because obviously nobody who watches this team, I think, will give him any flack for what happened in the Jacksonville loss, considering how you literally gave up so many consecutive points back defensively for Jacksonville to get that game back. And that's the one that you could say is probably maybe the least of Justin Herbert's faults. But your last two playoff performances, 4 interceptions against Houston.
Yep.
This game against New England, when again, you weigh your opponents, Jacksonville, Houston, this looked like the better matchup for you. You have to just find a way to be able to deliver. And that's true for any quarterback. Take away Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Whether it's Patrick Mahomes when he's had bad games, or it's one big throw, whether it's Josh Allen who makes one big play. Any quarterback, for crying out loud, has to step up come playoff time. And that's regardless of any deficiency that they may have. I get it. The two people that are on this screen that are not named Justin Herbert have been an issue for this team all season long. But when it comes playoff time, it is a different animal. And I wish that would have been the opportunity to have everyone shut up about talking about Justin Herbert can't do this, he can't do that, and he's now 0-3 in a playoff record. Justin Herbert has been a phenomenal quarterback, ridiculous athletic ability for what he's been able to do, and had a warranted MVP case for the amount of punishment that he was able to endure this season and still take the Chargers to an 11-6 record and another playoff berth. But you gotta deliver in the postseason. And I believe that he's going to do that. It's just a long and unfortunate road that we all have to endure and listen to on the way to doing it.
Yep. It's it's tough, man, because nothing you said there I can argue with. Nothing. I do wonder how or if any quarterback could have succeeded in that scenario.
Very few.
Again, like he missed an open Ladd McConkey on the right side while he was scrambling for his life. Period. That was probably a touchdown. If he would have led Ladd on the left side by another 5 yards, that was another explosive, probably. Those are two. I've seen people talk about like a deep post to Quentin. No, I'm not buying that. I've seen people, talk about he should have done the whole shot versus the 4th down throw that he threw to Gadsden. Like, we're nitpicking here. Should have thrown it versus running for the 1st down. All right. Like he picked a play to live to die another day. That quarterback over there in New England, who's an MVP candidate, missed wide open dudes and was peppering stuff all over the field. All over the field. He had a lot more opportunities to deliver game-changing plays than number 10. No one's talking about the throws in the dirt. No one's talking about the throws over the heads of wide open dudes in the end zones for Drake May, because the guy had way more at-bats and he hit some doubles. Hell, call it home runs. I don't care. Justin Herbert went, call it 1 for 5. Drake May went 3 for 30. Cool. Life of a quarterback. Justin Herbert wasn't great, but I just, like, given the context of the season, of the toll, of the game, of the surroundings, of his coordinator, was he playing a little timid? Did he play like his offensive line was terrible? Was he playing like he was under duress all the time? Was he playing like he had to put it all on his shoulders? Yeah, because he had to. Because all of that has been true. And he just wasn't enough. And he just wasn't enough. Like, I'll take that. I'll take that. But give me some dudes who want to go to bat for him, who know what the fuck they're doing. What you saw from this offensive line this year was hysterically and categorically, no hyperbole, historically bad. And he found a way. And for those who are saying, we're just Herbert apologists, like, we have said this all season. It is a damn miracle that they won 11 games this year. And it was also a failure that did not win a playoff game. But I don't know if that failure lies on the shoulders of Justin Herbert alone, or even mostly. So you can pile on Justin all you want, and you can put some blame to Justin all you want. But if you think that he is one of your biggest problems on this team, respectfully, I just think you're wrong. And time will tell. Time will tell. Anything else, Jake? You want to talk on that subject? Because I think there's a lot of that noise out there, and he's going to hear it. And I get it. I get the criticism. I understand. I'm taking the long road.
Again, I think that it's gotten to a point now where it's more, the argument is in the middle of the road, where the criticism is fair at this point.
Sure.
It's kind of like how Dan said it. There's no knocking what he's been able to do this season. What he was able to pull off was absolutely remarkable, and he is the least problem on this team. Do they need to change quarterbacks? No, that is not the type of argument that we are reaching for here. But at some point, you have another opportunity, and are going to have another opportunity, to end that conversation, end that narrative. I wish it could have been this weekend so that we weren't here today talking about it. I have confidence that he's going to be able to do it again. And he's going to have an opportunity to do it again. But it's going to be those moments again where it's going to be on his shoulders to step up.
So one thing that he left some stuff out there. He didn't make the plays that he wanted to make. Joseph here. Mahomes and Allen, at the very least, play significantly better than that, even if they lose. But the way our defense plays, I'm very confident they would have won that game. Maybe. Let's just say that's true.
It was 9-3 in the middle of the fourth quarter. Again, we weren't asking Justin Herbert to come back from a 2 or a 3 score game at that point. One play could have turned the tide for you. And yes, your opportunities that you had were more in the first half, definitely more so than what you got in the second half for how New England was playing defensively. But Justin has been able to make those 1 or 2 plays this year that changed the course of the game. Mm-hmm. And he just needed to have it in the postseason, and he didn't have it.
Yeah. And again, like, all of it boils down to, like, it's simple, right? Like, he just was not able to overcome all of the things that he was able to overcome all year in that game. He wasn't. And if you want to say that, okay, well, Mahomes and Allen are better. Okay. Fine. I'm not arguing that. Okay. We'll never know. But I don't know. A couple comments here. Herbert needs to be criticized heavily so that he can get his act together next year. So
there's nobody that's going to be more harder on himself than Justin Herbert. There is not a announcer, any one of us, anybody on social media, what have you, that is going to be able to give him a better or a bigger criticism than himself. You won't beat it. That's just the type of person that Justin Herbert is. So throw everything you want at him. And again, we can have a reasonable, respectable discussion in regards to it, because I think that you're at a point now after the last 2 playoff games for Justin Herbert where you need to see those changes from him specifically, for him to step up. We know that he can. We've seen him do it. We just can't change the narrative to say what didn't work for him just because it's January and not December. We've seen him do it. We know he's capable of doing it.
Yep.
He just needs to do it.
We're at 800 folks and counting, Jake, live in the chat right now. This is wild. Where the keys at one says he had a clean pocket on many dropbacks and couldn't hit his receivers. That's facts. Okay. Kind of. He had a clean pocket on many dropbacks. I don't know what you call many, but he had clean pocket on a surprising amount of dropbacks in the first half. Agreed. Go watch the all 22, man. Tell me where he's supposed to throw it. Tell me where he's supposed to throw it. Again, we have acknowledged he missed the one to Ladd on the right side, and he missed the one to Ladd on the left side, throwing deep on the run. I'm with you. But go show me open receivers that he missed with clean pockets, other than those 2 plays. I got nothing for you. And yeah, we could talk about the Peyton Mannings of the world. We can talk about the Matthew Staffords of the world and how long it took them to get their playoff wins. Like all that stuff, like, you know, it's opium until it happens, right? Like right. That's just what it is.
If you're guaranteeing me that he's going to follow the playoff line of a Peyton Manning, hey, I hope you're right. Would love to see it. I remember what that felt like watching that game when he finally was able to get over that hurdle. And trust me, I'll be 10 times more elated when Justin Herbert does that.
Yeah, same with Elway. Like this ain't it, man. Like I think that's kind of what it is. Like I know you sometimes you're prisoner of the moment and the feelings get the best of you. Like I get all that, but again, like I think nuance and context matter. And I mean, like you're seeing Keenan Allen dropping balls. You're seeing Keenan Allen not even go for one in the end zone that could at least have been tried to be caught. Go look at the 4th down call that they had in the goal line. Tell me who's open there. How many false starts did they have in that game? The dude got pressured, 30 or 31 out of 37 times? He dropped back? Jeremy, the best run was a Vidal fumble recovery.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin is in the end zone trying to throw it sideways backwards just to get an incomplete pass. The guy is getting absolutely mauled. It was a tough day in the office, man. It was a tough day in the office. Jake, got about 5 minutes left here. Folks in the chat, shall we end this with like a rapid fire Q&A type thing? We got more folks on the hotline, but it's late and I'm tired.
Let's try to end it on a positive note. I know that this was obviously a lot of discussion about the change in offensive coordinator and offensive line coach who we're thinking about as possibilities for the Chargers to interview in the upcoming weeks. Also, you had to get a little bit more therapy out from what we all experienced over the weekend. Good or bad? It was a nice release. Glad we got a chance to talk to you, all of you guys, about it. But let's end it on a high note, Dan. What do you guys want to hear? You want to hear another voicemail? You have anything that we can answer rapidly? Let's hear it.
All right, we got votes for one more voicemail. Let's do it. Last voicemail. Okay, you know what? F it. I'm going to pick a voicemail until we hear a positive one. Here we go. Ready?
Oh, boy. You may not find one.
We fired him. We fired him. Thank God. Oh, my God. Thank God. Now, we gotta hire a Dable and again.
Okay. Got it. So this was right after the announcement of the Greg Roman fire. I could not tell if he was excited, if it was going to be another like switcheroo on us on that one, Dan. But now I understand what he's talking about.
Be there, but oh my God, I'm so happy.
There we go. Happy note, positive note. There we
All right,
go.
real quick. Let's go with these real fast. Next one.
I'm tired of this shit.
That's not it. Sorry.
That
Next
was
one.
not today.
Jake, Dan, what's up, guys? This is Matthew. It is 7:15 in the morning on a Monday. Last night, what I just watched was fucking horrible.
Okay, well, next one. Here we go.
Dan, Jake.
Oh, I think I already heard of Theirs. Next
What
one.
if he called twice?
Hi guys, Missouri Mike here. Finally got the courage to call and leave an end of the year message.
Oh boy.
See where we fired Greg Roman.
Okay.
No hate towards him. Hopefully we'll get somebody who's got more diversity and can utilize Justin Herbert's skills. And we got to do something about the O-line. There's no two ways about that.
For sure.
Yep. All right. Next, last one. I think the last one we got for tonight.
Hi guys, Missouri Mike here. Finally got the
same one. All right, we're good. We made through them.
Rock and roll.
Okay, here we go, Jake. Rapid fire. Let's get through some of these comments here before we head out of here. I'm gonna let you take some of these, Jake. We'll trade off. You take one. I take one. You take one. I take
Go for
it. Chargers are not playing out of the country 2 years in a row. Really?
Thank God. They had to travel the last 2 consecutive years more than any team in the National Football years back to back. So if that's the case, great. I don't want to see it. They've traveled way too much over the last 2 years. Give them a break when it comes to travel. We already know that the schedule is going to be harder next year, but give them a break as far as, back to back miles where you're having them go.
Those first 3 weeks,
they kind of deserve it, especially 2 years after going 11-6.
Breezy B 8720. Worst O-line in 20 years for the NFL. That's out of 640 teams. Let that sink in. They say Herb isn't that good. Okay. Yep. 100%. Let's see. Next one. NE95. I don't want to wait 13 years for a playoff win. I'm sorry, but we've suffered too long.
Don't disagree.
Yes. Jeremy, are you going to do another show for defensive coordinator of Jesse Minter if Jesse Minter leaves? Well, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Soviet Bacon Pig. Great name. I want to say thank you to all the Charger fans. It's been a hell of a year. Can't wait for next year. Let's see. Just sad that the 6 years of this generational talent were wasted on mediocrity. Yeah. Gavin, hey guys, Lions fan here. Any offensive coordinators you guys want? Yeah, we talked about it. Beef Talaboy, Keenan Allen, 3 drops, 25 yards with seat on the line. Yeah. Yep. Anything else, Jake? Before we get out of here. I think I feel a little better.
Thoughts on Slater's health? I've been pretty pessimistic, but a report just came out that he's ahead of schedule. Yeah, that was his own words in the locker room cleanout during yesterday. That was a positive report, especially after hearing the Joe Alt report yesterday, where he basically said that he did everything that you possibly could do to an ankle and we still don't even know the specifics of what ended up happening that ended his season, but you just hope and pray that the rehab for that, whatever it is going to have him on schedule to start next season. But it's great to hear this optimism from Rashawn Slater, because we talked about it when the injury happened, and it's been well documented for players that have suffered that same injury, how hard it is to come back on. You just pray for his health, his recovery. Obviously, the time frame looks that, as he's saying, ahead of schedule, which is great news.
Amazing.
That's a step in the right direction. If there's anybody that is committed to coming back after an injury like that, it's definitely Rashawn Slater. So you just hope by the time that the regular season is ready to go, so is he.
We saw a bunch of questions here earlier, Jake. As good as Keenan has been, I think there's just too many mouths to feed, and Ladd suffered because of it. Is Keenan still with us next year? So I'll kind of use this for a couple guys. Is Keenan with us next year?
I'm going to say no.
Is Khalil Mack back next year?
I'll give it a percentage. Right now, I will give it 20%.
And is that 80% retiring?
No.
Or going somewhere else?
He's just a fucking animal. It's like, Khalil is the type of guy that has the heart to say, like, if he found a way, and even if it's with another team, to say, like, I know I can win a ring with that team, he's going to find a way to do it. He is just that crazy, man. And again, I would have told you after the injury that took place for him that you were clearly going to have to move on from him after next season. But then you just see the impact that he has when he comes back from it, and the trio that you were able to create with him, Thule, and Owe. I'll admit, I was at a 0 way back then. And progressively during this season, he has given an uptick to that. But you hear those comments from him, kind of brought me down to earth a little bit more. So right now, I'll put it at 20%.
I think I'm 195% sure that he either comes back one more year for the Chargers or retires. I think he has too much admiration for so many dudes on this team. I don't think he goes somewhere else. Adafe Owe.
Boy, did he get paid in that New England game. Holy shit.
By
what
the Chargers?
A season. We'll see. It's
yes or no. Is he on the Chargers next year?
I'm going to say yes.
I think so.
I'm going to say yes. It's him and Tyler Tart are your top defensive priorities that you need to find a way to bring back next year. You may be able to hold off an extra year for Thule, since you may not want to pay two of your edge rushers in the same year, allocate that money that you have to use it in a different way. So Owe, given the fact that he's a year earlier from his rookie contract to Thule's, may take a little bit more precedence right now, but damn, what a trade acquisition by Joe Hortiz that completely changed the outlook of this defense when it comes to the pass rush.
Tyler Linderbaum. Yes or no?
Maybe. And I'm not saying that you don't.
Of course you want him.
Sign him. Yeah, of course you want him. It's whether or not the Ravens are going to end up extending him. It's amazing that they've actually gone this long and not extending him. But we'll see how the offseason plays out.
Jesse Minter.
I'm sorry to say it. You know how coveted Jesse Minter is this year. He has interviews with every single team that has a head coaching vacancy. I would be shocked beyond shocked if somehow Jim Harbaugh is able to convince him to come back and do it one more time. But as Dan said, in the likely event that happens, your first option for a replacement should be Steve Clinkscale. Familiarity with Jim Harbaugh in this Jesse Minter defensive system, what he has been able to do with the secondary unit since he's been with this team has been extraordinary. And I personally think that he's ready to take over when that time comes.
Last question. Keep it respectful. No, I'm not going to ask it.
No? Okay. Fair enough.
It's hard to be respectful of that kind of question.
No.
Jake, the 2025-26 season, it's over. So many stories, so many narratives, so many...
Off-season just begun.
We're just beginning. And we are now on the clock. They are on the clock, 22 overall. We'll see how this goes. We'll see what happens as it transpires, as the offensive coordinator news, as possible defensive coordinator news, as positional coaches, draft prospects, free agents, all that kind of stuff will be moving. The season was a roller coaster. We went through a shit ton together. This Chargers team went through a gauntlet. And the season that was impossible, riddled with everything, they found a way to 11 wins and got us hoping again. And say what you will about Justin at the end of the game. You saw stuff from him this year you hadn't seen that gave you hope. So I call it progression. Jake, bid your adieus. Take us home.
The thank yous that we've been getting in here have just been, again, you guys are crazy. And it's Tuesday at 10:28 local time for Dan and I. 845 people in this chat. You all are absolutely nuts. But I will say this, I cannot wait to start. As much as I'd be loving to talk about the Chargers postseason and continuing that right now, I'm still excited to talk about the Chargers offseason with all of you because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of topics that we can discuss, whether we're getting into, obviously, the offensive coordinator search, some coaching changes that might end up happening here over the next couple of weeks that are going to bring up even more openings, free agency, NFL Combine, and of course the NFL Draft. It's my favorite time of year, and I love coming on here and breaking it down and talking with all of you and hearing your guys' opinions on what the Chargers are going to do in the offseason. So excited for these next few months. I wish I could be talking to you guys about the next playoff game in Denver. Unfortunately, that didn't end up happening, but we move on. Let's get it out. This was therapy. Move into the offseason. Justin Herbert is still your quarterback. Jim Harbaugh is still your head coach. Let's figure out a way to get different results next year's postseason. But let's start right now.
That's it. I got nothing. For Jake, Dan, this is Charger Unleashed 2026 season, upcoming 25 season in the books. We'll talk to you next time on Chargers Unleashed.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.